So it should be live now.
I think so. It says live anyway.
Yeah, let me just check on YouTube quickly.
Okay.
That it is working. Yep, sweet. So, hey guys, and welcome to our first live stream. And I'm here with the fantastic graphic designer, Dak. Basically, the man behind the channel designed all of this stuff you see in the Tactics broadcasts, all the thumbnails and stuff. That's all through Dak. So, great job to Dak, and delighted to say he's joining me for this live stream now. So, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, he's done me a bit of a good turn there. I'm not that good, really. Just a little bit of a... I reached out to him and just said, do you want a bit of help with the channel? And this is where we are now. I'm on a little bit of a live stream with him, so hopefully we can talk about United and talk about some good things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, the international break at the moment, and I mean, right at the best of times, no one wants to watch international football anyway, and especially now with the pandemic and everything, we don't want our players getting injured, we don't want them catching COVID, so really, international break's not helping anyone. So, with that in mind, we thought we'd have a quick look ahead to, in about a month's time, just over a month, the January transfer window opens. We've seen a lot of rumours already, and the first place to start, obviously the big one, Pogba out and Cristiano Ronaldo into Manchester United. So, what we're saying, Dak, obviously you can't say no to that, can you?
No, I've taken a heartbeat. I don't care. He could be 55, 56. I'll have him, get him in my team. Paul Pogba, right. There are a lot of fans out there in our fan base that have never really given Pogba a chance. But they're also the other side where they're all Pogba. I've given Pogba chance after chance after chance after chance. I'm not going to give him another one, especially not when Ronaldo's knocking on the door.
Yeah,
Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, and you want me to not have a guy that gave me so much joy in my childhood over a guy that can't even get in our squad now, over Fred and Scott McTominay? You're joking? Come on, man. Surely you feel the same.
Yeah. We can't be leaving Ronaldo out. If the chance comes, it's got to be taken. Like he is probably still one of the best players in the world. Like, and just think of him teaching Greenwood, Rashford, Martial.
Well, Greenwood will be teaching him. Actually, we all know how good Greenwood is. The leadership he's going to bring, the experience he's going to bring. Imagine you're looking at Cavani now, and you think Cavani's going to bring. Imagine what Cristiano Ronaldo is, who sees Ferguson as his dad. Who imagine how angry he'd be at a performance like not Besiktas, Istanbul Başakşehir, or a performance like Spurs. He would destroy that team in that dressing room.
Ronaldo and Bruno ripping into them at half time. It's what we need.
Up front.
I mean, there's been talk as well. Obviously, Sergio Ramos running out of his contract next year. Imagine those two coming to United. I mean, I don't think Ronaldo, there is always a chance. There's always a chance.
There's always a chance with Ronaldo, but I suppose Ramos gets used every like 4 years. Doesn't need to come to United for a new contract.
When he wants some money, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you've got to say yes to Ronaldo. I mean, did you see that goal for Paul Pogba the first goal France conceded last night? Pogba's just work rate, just not closing down the shot at all. You got the French coach going before the game about how Pogba's playing in the wrong position, not happy with his playing time. He plays him, subs him off after 60 minutes because he's been terrible. And he doesn't work hard enough, played him in the exact same position he criticised Ole for playing him. And look what happens next.
He was pointing to other players. He didn't want the ball. He didn't want really to be involved. I think he did actually create a few chances in the first half. But who were they playing against? Finland?
Yeah.
Something like that. And £90 million player, I understand he's had coronavirus. So I'm not here just to completely, bash him, because on his day he's a fantastic footballer. But I don't think he's a footballer that really could, and especially can't now, work in the Premier League. He's just not press resistant whatsoever. And you can't have as much time on the ball that Pogba wants to have in our league.
So what is it, do you think, then? Do you think it's just Serie A being, I mean, the criticism level at Serie A is it's walking football, it's really slow, and the Premier League is obviously not the same. Do you reckon it's that, or do you think it's just teams have worked him out, or is he just not in his best form? I think he's in really poor form. That's plain for all to see.
I think,
but maybe a combination of all of those.
I definitely think that he's in a bad patch of form. I mean, even as press resistant as he isn't, and everything like that, he should still be playing a lot better than he is. He shouldn't be giving away penalties left, right, and centre. He shouldn't be giving lazy passes, telling people to pass to other people and not him. He's a leader. How old is he? 28, 27, 28. He should be one of the people that's, that we're spearheading towards a title challenge. We're not getting anything like that from Paul Pogba. What we're getting is, like I just said, I don't want to call him lazy, because I think that is actually a lazy word to use for him. But I think, with going back to Serie A, like you said, I think it's a combination of Serie A being slow, but he's a slow player on the ball anyway. I think that's something he needs to be afforded time on the ball. And with the players that we've got currently at the club, like if you look at like the Scott McTominays, the Freds, even going into the field like the Brunos, we can barely afford Bruno on the ball most of the time. And when he does get time on the ball, you've seen what happened at Everton when he was picking up the pockets in the middle of the park instead of being out wide to come and finally get on the ball. And he's a lot faster on the ball. We can't allow that time that Pogba wants on the ball. At United, we can't do it. We just haven't got the players to do it. And it's really not worth trying to build a team that can do that for Paul Pogba when, A, we can ship him out and bring in players straight away that are going to make us a better team faster than building an entire new team just for Paul Pogba. There are questions around his attitude. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Is he a professional footballer? But there are loads of if, buts, and maybes around Paul Pogba, and for me, that's just enough to pull the plug. There's a reason why Ferguson got rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, so we've got here, username says Van der Beek is the complete opposite of Paul. So
that's a classy username, that.
Yeah.
that is his username.
It is. He's not wrong. But yeah, no, do completely agree. Van der Beek's so good in the way he keeps things simple. He moves the ball on fast. He doesn't want too many touches. You see with Pogba, he wants to get the ball first, control the ball, then bring the opponent in towards him. He wants to feel the opponent next to him before he then moves that ball on. He wants to take on his man every time. And especially now in that deeper role, when he's doing that on the edge of our box, if he loses it, we're going to concede a goal, or best case, have a chance of the opposition running at our back four. And right now, that's really not what we need. So yeah, Van der Beek at the moment, brilliant player. I really don't understand why he isn't playing. And if you've got any more thoughts on the Pogba, Ronaldo, any of these sorts of transfer stories, drop us a comment down below and we'll be sure to read it out and get into it. So yeah, I mean, Donny van der Beek scored last night for Netherlands. He's got to play more, hasn't he? But where do you fit him into the team?
Donny van der Beek's a strange one for me. And he is probably, for my money, in terms of actual money as well, probably one of the signings of the season, especially for the price. £35 million we got him for from Ajax. And I think he has been treated unfairly at the club so far, especially when, I mean, I think the Dutch league was that postponed or cancelled or voided or whatever when coronavirus first hit. So he had months and months and months of off time, or that's time for him to get fit. Whereas in the first game of the season, when we'd already signed him against Palace, we started Paul Pogba, who was 2 weeks removed from having coronavirus. I think I've said it to many friends and anyone that'll listen, really. I don't think Donny van der Beek was bought to replace Paul Pogba, but he will end up replacing him. He is going to be what we wanted Paul Pogba to be. And you could say the same with Bruno. I mean, there is a lot of debate, isn't there? Is Donny van der Beek a number 10? I mean, I don't personally think he is just a number 10. He's definitely he isn't like Juan Mata's being used now. He is an asset wherever he plays.
Yeah, because he keeps it so simple. He can play one-touch passing. He's so intelligent. His movement's good. Even if he's playing in the pivot, when he goes forward, he can find space. So he won't just stand in one position if he's marked by three players. He'll move, open up space for other players around him. He's so smart, he can play anywhere on the pitch. So it is criminal that he's not playing more, to be honest. I
mean, also, he absolutely fits the pressing Premier League sides like a glove. The way he picked up space, like you just said, against that Crystal Palace game when he came on, was chalk and cheese to everything else. He just he looks like he wants to play football and he wants to play for the club and he understands the club and he understands what it means to be a Manchester United player. You can't say that about a lot of our players. You can't.
No, it's fair enough.
And it's sad. We're in a sad state of affairs where we're kind of good enough, Manchester United. if you asked a fan, that say an Arsenal fan, if you ask them, is our team any good? They would say, yeah, you've got Pogba, you've got Maguire, you've got the. They don't watch them week in, week out and see that, okay, they might be naturally good footballers, but are they footballers that can carry the weight that the Manchester United badge brings? I don't know. And I think that's something that we need to think about when we talk about the signings in a bit. We need to sign players that want pressure. I mean, if you think about Bruno Fernandes, he was talking about penalties, and he said, I want pressure. He said, in a game that's 4 or 5-0 up already, he'd rather give the penalty to someone else to take because he needs the pressure. That's my captain. That's a player I want.
He's the best player we've had since Rooney. Easy. By a long way.
Yeah. He's easily the best signing we've had since Fergie.
He's such a good player, and he's a proper United player. I love his arrogance, everything about the lad. Now, with the last thing with Paul Pogba, obviously, I think Solskjaer did make obviously a big mistake there. Straight after he's recovered from COVID, put him straight back in the team, and then took far too many games to take him out of the team when he wasn't performing. I just didn't understand the logic there at all. Now, the one thing I want to come on to before we go on to signings, a quick word on Mason Greenwood. So,
I'm getting excited already.
Quick comment from Mohamed Tariq that you're more animated than Harry Maguire. So,
and I'm faster than him as well. And I'm faster than him.
Yeah, put Dak at centre half, mate. Couldn't go any worse, could it?
Bang, 1-0. I'd score headers.
Yeah.
80p head. Never mind 80 million. 80p. And I'd still bang more. Mason Greenwood. I mean, you've just said his name and I'm excited. I've watched a lot of youth level football. I have since I was about 14, 15. And Mason Greenwood is far and away the best I've ever seen at youth level. And it's not even close. Like, me and Cam have spoke off YouTube on Twitter and everything like that. And I've said how much I love actual two-hand Zabi. And I think he's one of the most gifted footballers I've seen, especially at centre-back. But Mason Greenwood's on a different planet. In terms of talent. He is XG Greenwood is what they call him, don't they? He scores like 0.2% chances. He's just a dynamo. There's a reason why he scored 17 goals in all competitions last season. Well, 18 if you count some Checker Trade Cup, but we're not going to do that. I should really, but I'm not going to. That puts him in line with is it Rooney and Best, that he's the joint record holder for all three for his first season as a teenager to get 17 goals. Both Rooney and Best did that. Well, you're in pretty good company there, aren't you?
Greenwood pretty much only had half the season as well. It wasn't even starting until like midway through December.
Yeah, and he was coming on as a sub and getting it done. And he's been playing out of position.
Yeah,
I mean, zero service really, and it's the same as poor Anthony Martial. Like exactly. This could be another half an hour long if you want to talk about Anthony Martial. That's another thing completely, Cam. Like the stick that man gets, I'll just say it quickly. That stick that man gets for zero service. He scored 23 goals in all competitions, or 24 goals in all competitions. Last, we've got a comment there, haven't we? From Mohamed Tariq again. Is he better than Ravel Morrison? Is he better than? I know Ravel didn't go on to a lot, and Ravel was a superstar in the youth. He's 10 times better than Ravel was as a youth player. I firmly believe that. Going back to Anthony Martial, he scored 23 goals in all competitions last season, making the chances himself. His hold-up play is what made them goals for him. He got zero service, zero. If you take him out the team, I mean, a wise man once said, if you take Martial out the team, you're not scoring any. If you have him in the team, you'll score at least one.
Ricky? Was it Ricky by any chance?
It was Ricky, the wise man Ricky. He did say that, and he's absolutely spot on. I've not seen a striker being this disrespected since probably when we had Wayne Rooney, and he is what the Scousers think Firmino is.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
and that's all I'm going to say.
Martial's just absolutely ridiculous. Him and Greenwood are two of the most clinical players in the league. But coming back to Mason Greenwood, obviously in terms of that comment from Mohamed Tariq there on whether he's better than Ravel Morrison, at youth level, there's a lot of reasons why players can be good. Like some of them grow faster than other players. Some of them at youth level are really fast, so they can outpace everyone. They're really strong. Physically, maybe they're better than everyone else in their age group. So at youth level, they look good. Then at senior level, when they come up against players who are just as quick or just as strong as them, they disappear. Greenwood's strength was, he was quick. Yeah, he was strong. And obviously he's bulked up quite a lot since then. But his strength was his intelligence in his brain. He knew, because he could go both ways, he was so fast. He saw the picture before everyone else. That's what made him so good. And that's why he's translated so well into senior football. Obviously right now he's getting a lot of stick. And to be honest, I think it's disgraceful. If you look at obviously his personal circumstances right now, what's happened in his life.
His best friend.
Yeah.
One of his best mates.
Exactly. And people are piling on him. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. So I'm ashamed of United fans that are doing it, but the press and other rival fans especially as well. There's just no need for it. He's one of our best players and could be. I honestly think he could be the club's highest ever goal scorer. The record goal scorer if he stays with United.
I'm going to go one further and say if he stays with, like he says, and Cam thinks, I know he will. He will if he stays and he stays fit. He is that good.
Yeah, he's an absolutely incredible player. So honestly,
Mohamed just hit the nail on the head there straight away. If Martial was English and spoke like Harry Kane, let's not get into that bit. But then he'd probably be the best instant slash. But if he was English, I'd firmly believe that Martial would probably be the answer for the reason why we're going to win the next World Cup. He is so good on and off the ball, and he gets no service and no praise from anyone, but probably his teammates and the coaches.
Username's back again with everyone saying we need a proper number 9, but they couldn't do what Martial does in this team, and he's right. He is right. Martial's so good because he's a false 9, but he's a 9. He's a false 9. He's a number 10. He's all of those at the same time. He's a winger at the same time when Rashford isn't doing his job out on the wing. He does everything, absolutely everything, and you can see. You saw against Istanbul, he can score a header as well. Obviously we haven't.
He can do absolutely everything. He can definitely do absolutely everything, and I think you will see we actually have in Mason Greenwood someone who actually is really good at holding up the ball, but he is still a little bit, as you said before, his strength's not quite there.
Yeah,
his strength's not quite there, but it will get there. Martial's wasn't there at 19, 20, 21, 22. It wasn't until he was 23, 24, 25 as he's coming up to, where now he's turned into some sort of muscle phenom. He's getting the ball and he's falling over and he's getting winning as a free kick. And that's another thing as well, the pressure he relieves off that midfield. And even he's just so important. Like it makes the team play so much better. Every single position has less pressure on it because of Anthony Martial.
Yeah.
He holds the ball up and he allows people to run forward. He allows people to get into spaces. And that's why he should really be playing with Donny van de Beek.
Yep, agreed. And now, username again with we have 2 wingers who just want to score and 2 fullbacks who rarely cross. This is exactly right. You get those 2, you get Greenwood and Rashford in the box. You get our fullbacks up that line. Get them putting crosses in the box. Put the ball into the box for those 3 players. Greenwood, Rashford, Martial. Van de Beek coming in. Pogba coming in. Bruno Fernandes coming into the box. Whoever it is in that midfield. Even Scott McTominay. Get the ball in the box and we will score goals. As simple as that. But at the moment, we have wingers who are trying to score, so they want to be in central areas, but they get forced to hold the width because the fullbacks don't come up the pitch and do it themselves. So the wingers are having to do that job and score, which is just not possible for that many players to do. And that makes it that much harder for all of our midfield players as well to get space in central areas. So you're right. For me, the solution is just get those fullbacks higher up the pitch. Now, Mohamed Tariq again says, thoughts on Jack Grealish, right wing for United?
We might differ here. You can go first if you want, but go on, you go first.
Yeah, I think Grealish could do an okay job. We're going to come on to our sidings for right wing later. So let's do it now. Okay. The point of this stream that we said we'd talk about before was 3 positions that we need United to strengthen. Right wing, for me, defensive midfield and centre half. So in terms of right wingers, Jack Grealish on the right. Well, I think he needs a lot better on the left because he likes to cut in and get shots away. He needs those sort of diagonal angles so he can make those passes in behind to the strikers. But I think on the right, he'd still do a decent job. He's very good in spaces. He wins fouls. He can get the team up the pitch. And right now, he's better than what we currently have. He'll provide more service than what we currently got. And yeah, so right now I'd take him. He wouldn't be best used on the right in terms of where he can play best, but he'd be a massive upgrade on what we currently got.
I'd have Jack Grealish all day long, and I don't care if they wanted 100 million, I'd pay it. I think he's a player that will step up at any club he's going to. I think he's a leader. I think we don't have any of them. He's one of the best ball progressors in Europe. He's one of the best ball carriers in Europe. We have such little ball progression, and I know we did have a bit, against Everton, but one of our biggest problems is connecting the midfield and the attack cohesively. And you get poor Bruno Fernandes, who ghosts most games or some games because of this. If you got, we'll come on to this as well. If you just got two midfielders that recycle the ball, and Scott McTominay and Fred have done that, but if you watch, especially against Arsenal, how Jack Grealish came deep for the ball, went through central areas, passed the ball off, and then moved out to the left-hand side. It creates so much trouble, and I know we've got Marcus Rashford there, but it creates so much trouble for the defence because they all get dragged this way and then they get dragged that way, and it just opens up so much space. Now they've got people like Trezeguet, Matty Cash running forward, not Bruno Fernandes and Martial. Jack Grealish for me is a no-brainer. I think, like I said, he's a leader. He obviously likes the club, and I personally just really like him, so I'd pay the money. Cam, what about you?
We saw in I think it was back in the first lockdown. He was the one that got massive headlines for breaking all the lockdown rules and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not something that's great to see in terms of his own PR, but we need that at United in a sense. There's not many characters in the dressing room who have that sort of attitude, that sort of cavalier attitude. They're mavericks. We don't have any of those at United. Everyone's too nice in a sense at the moment. I want to see that sort of player that can do that. The sort of player that will fight, give everything for the badge, but also like off the pitch, he's got a bit of personality. We don't have enough of that in the dressing room for me. So, I'd take Jack Grealish. Yeah, definitely.
And do you want to go on to?
Yeah, in terms of other right wingers, right wing is one of the positions we identified. We need replacements there. And obviously in recent weeks, we've signed Facundo Pellistri, we've signed Amad Diallo, and they're ones for the future, definitely. Obviously, we missed out on the big one, Jadon Sancho, and I'd love to get Jadon Sancho into the team, but the longer it goes on, the less likely it seems in a way. Obviously, he's been poor form at Dortmund, so we maybe get him cut price, but I think in a sense, Dortmund are probably just too stubborn to allow it. So who else do you think would be a good replacement at right wing then? And for me, obviously, the obvious choices, given that we've got young players coming through, I think Sancho and maybe Ousmane Dembele, they're the sort of proven choices. In terms of right wingers in the world at the moment, there aren't many available genuine top quality options. And I think at this point, we need someone who is established in that position because we've got the youth talent coming through. They'll be fine to provide sort of sub appearances, come off the bench and maybe provide some inspiration, some magic, impact players. But we need someone who's genuinely proven and can take the team up a level. I don't think we've really got that.
I think if it was me, I would drop the wingers completely. I'd play a two-striker system. Mainly because we're shoehorning Marcus into the left. I know he can play a left inside forward, but I would like a two-striker system just because of how much depth it suddenly provides for us. But then we've got Mason Greenwood, Martial, Cavani and Rashford as a four strikers. Mohamed's just said there, David Neres, he's more left-sided now. I think he plays because they've got Anthony on the right-hand side, I think, at Ajax. But I would take David Neres. I do like him. I would, and I tell you who I'm gutted has gone to Chelsea is Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah.
I'm so I don't really rate, and people might have a go at me in the comments for this, I don't really rate Kai Havertz. I never really have. I don't really rate Timo Werner. I think he needs 6 to 7 chances a game to score. I think Hakim Ziyech is unbelievable, and he scares me so much as a United fan.
Yeah, I agree so much. I think if you want a replacement for Juan Mata, and Juan Mata, bear in mind, is still doing a decent job on the wing with no legs left. Hakim Ziyech is that man. He can do all the playmaking stuff, and he's faster than Mata. He's a brilliant player, Hakim Ziyech. And also, with the players we've got, he's the type of player who can fill in behind. So let's say Rashford and Martial are running through on goal. He can cut in so just on the wing, go behind them and slide those balls through to them. He's a playmaker as much as he is a goal scorer as well. So that's, in a sense, that's exactly what we need. And Mohamed said again, 4-2-2, as you were saying. Bruno and Donny as cams behind Martial / Rashford and Greenwood. I agree. I mean, I think
any two-striker system.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen a lot of at the moment is people are saying there's a lot of emphasis on the diamond. The first couple of times we saw that, whether it was PSG or Leipzig or whatever, it wasn't really a diamond. It's the back four, Fred and McTominay in front, and then everyone else just left to do what they want, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a 4-2-2 in that sense, because you've got, so Fred and McTominay, their job, you sit in front of that defence, you make sure nothing comes through and nothing can run at the defence. Everyone else, Bruno basically plays in the middle. Pogba will go out to the left, or Donny will play wherever, and you've got the two strikers up front. When they play as split strikers, when they get wide, they can take on anyone in those wide channels. I think Rashford's better on the right, Martial on the left, maybe Greenwood as well on the right. He needs to develop his hold-up play to play in that system. But the main thing we're lacking from that sort of system is fullbacks who can progress the ball well. And until Wan-Bissaka improves, hopefully Tellez comes into the team because he can do it, we're going to struggle a little bit in that system, but it is something we can definitely build towards.
100%. I think Alex Tellez is going to be a bigger player than most people are going to realise. Since Uncle Pat, we haven't really had an attacking fullback of any note, and it's so big in the game today. It's absolutely huge. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, who are, many would say they're the best in Europe, maybe Bayern's better. They're the Premier League champions. They've got some of the best fullbacks in the world, if not both in the positions. They're two of the best fullbacks. It's absolutely vital. I think you'll see City doing a lot better because I think that João Cancelo is I think he's a great player. I mean, I know we've got Wan-Bissaka, but I would have wanted. I would have loved João Cancelo at United.
Yeah.
I think he didn't really get game time last year, did he, at City? I don't think.
Not really. He's played a lot more this year, but I'm a massive fan of him. The way he plays on both sides, he's so good on the left as well, and he's just a really intelligent player. He's a really useful player.
Played against Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, he was really good. So a comment from Mohammed again. Who would be your replacements for McSauce and Fred? To be honest, I think both Scott McTominay and Fred can perform a lot better than they currently are. I think once they get the stability, they get the run in the team, they get the confidence to actually start passing the ball forwards, which will come in time. Once they can do that as well as their defensive work, they'll be good players. But obviously, I think in terms of that defensive midfield area, maybe we need better players. But I think the main area that we need to improve is probably the fullbacks. I think Wan-Bissaka will get given the chance because he's still young. But hopefully Tellez can do it on the left-hand side. And all of a sudden, we look a much, much better team. If the fullbacks start to become a threat, then McTominay and Fred have that little bit more time on the ball as well. And all of a sudden, they will look like world beaters too. So I think maybe we could look at replacements for McTominay and Fred in terms of playing in the double pivot. But I think the area we need to concentrate our time on really is the defensive midfield role. A pure defensive number 6 or number 4 if you're going with the old school numbers. Yeah. So
I wouldn't get rid of Fred whatsoever. I think Fred is one of the best midfielders in the league. I think under Pep, he'd probably be the best midfielder in the league. And I think Ollie was right what he said in that press conference about Fred, where he's still adjusting. I actually do think he is. I really do think he is. And I think he's starting to get to grips with it. And it's no coincidence that when in Europe, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because that is his game. But he's starting to branch out into the Premier League being his game. And now you're going to see something special. But like you just said, I think we need someone to partner him.
Yeah. Obviously, Mohammed says Cancelo is way better than Trent. I'm not sure on that one. I think he's a more complete footballer.
I think he could be. I think if Cancelo had more time in the league, I think I wouldn't be, especially because he's a Liverpool player, I wouldn't be hesitant to say that he was. Anyway, I mean, there was a time where I was telling everyone that Aaron Wan-Bissaka was better than Trent. So.
Yeah, fair enough. So on to defensive midfield then. Obviously, in terms of someone to partner Fred, I think Fred plays best when he's got a little bit more freedom to go around and just do his work. Like he's not the sort of player that you can tell him, right, you hold the midfield, you sit in that role, you don't move, you anchor it. I think he needs to have the freedom to move around, go and win the ball back, go and bite into challenges. Obviously, he'll win some, he'll lose others, but it's really important that he has that freedom. So he needs someone alongside him that can anchor, but also can pass forwards. So in terms of my choices, I mean, if I could take any defensive midfield player in the world right now for Manchester United, it'll be Sandro Tonali. I mean, obviously, he's gone to Milan this season, and I think, based on sort of the reports, he wants to stay in Italy. But in terms of someone he's mobile, he's a brilliant passer of the ball. He's basically the next Pirlo. I think he's following Pirlo's footsteps, going to Milan. Maybe he ends up at Juventus. But yeah, he's an absolutely terrific player. I'd be so happy to have him. He's unbelievable. The other players I'd like, obviously, Dennis Zakaria is getting a lot of hype. The one thing with him, the drawback, I guess, obviously, is his injuries. He's seeming to pick up quite a lot. His injury history isn't brilliant either. So that's my reservation with him. Obviously, Declan Rice, Premier League proven. He'll come at a much bigger price tag. But given that he's Premier League proven and he can actually pass the ball forwards now, if you'd asked me 2-3 years ago, I would have laughed in your face if he had to come to United. He wasn't anywhere near good enough at passing the ball forwards, moving it forwards, but he's developed that side of his game now. So maybe Declan Rice. I mean, who are you saying is your picks for central midfield?
I'm a big fan of Declan Rice. I think he still needs to improve what you've just said, though. But I actually think, believe it or not, I think a Harry Winks, Declan Rice midfield would do unbelievable job for England going forward if they use that in some sort of European or World Cup. And just to bring on to my players, see how I segued that in there? That was really professional. Harry Winks is one of the players that I'd be looking at getting to Manchester United now. People in the comments, people watching this will be thinking, is this room too hot that I'm in? Is there some sort of brain damage going on? No. Harry Winks is in the top 5, I think, for passing the ball forwards in the league. He's one of the best progressive passers in Europe. He's got one of the highest pass completion percentages in Europe. He works so well playing in a press, and I think he would partner Fred unbelievably. I think if you had Fred breaking up the play and Fred just passing a short sideways past Harry Winks, ping it upfield, I just think he's a player that I don't think he's going to cost you a lot. And I think he's a player that I would risk trying. He's 24. He's got an underrated defensive side. It's something that does worry me. I mean, if you look at the Manuel Lanzini goal, West Ham, the last minute when they equalised, it was Harry Winks just trying to be a little bit too clever on the edge of the box. If he just got rid of it, it would have been 3-2 and they'd have won. But he tried to do a step over or something like that. And, the rest is history. But Harry Winks, for me, he's a great passer of the ball forward. And it's exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need to partner Fred.
This is a great comment from Mohammed. Isn't Winks similar to Levitt / Garner? And yes,
he is.
Yes,
he absolutely is. And I love Levitt and Garner, but I don't think they're going to be ready yet.
I don't know. I think he makes a good point, though. What's the point in signing Harry Winks?
He makes a fantastic point. Yeah. And as someone who watches youth football, I made a bit of a mistake in not going with Levitt and Garner. I think Garner for me has surprised me going the way he's played at Watford. I've managed to pick up a few clips, and he's been playing a lot of long passes, and that's not really something that I associated Garner with. Because Garner and Levitt used to play together in the same midfield, and they used to play with Galbraith, I think, as well, who's all of a sudden turned into some maverick.
Big Galbraith.
Look at this! Look at this! Unbelievable.
These lads know the youth team. No, Galbraith's fantastic, absolutely brilliant player as well. I've been watching quite a lot of his sort of clips recently. I've been so impressed. The
thing with Galbraith is that they've said, you play the ball now, because normally he was a recycler. He would get the ball, pass it to Levitt or Garner. Get the ball, pass it to Levitt or Garner. And now they're not there. He's had his chance to flourish. And if you asked me 12 months ago if I would be saying Levitt, if I would be saying Ethan Galbraith for Manchester United, I'd be like, what's he talking about? But now he's had a chance to actually play with the ball. He's spraying it everywhere. He's passing it here, there, bang, 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 bang. He looks a top player. I mean, for me, if I had to choose one of them 3, I would probably choose Dylan Levitt.
Oh, I'll go for James Garner. But I mean, I think for me, out of those, they're all so exciting to watch. I think I do want to see them given chances. Maybe whether it's League Cup, FA Cup, we need rotation. I give those guys a chance, but I think it's with them. It's the same thing that we're seeing, hopefully, and we will continue to see with Fred and Scott McTominay. As they get more confident, as they realise you guys now are the progressors of the ball, you're the ones that have got to take the responsibility and move that ball forwards. They'll get better at doing it. They'll take risks. They'll mess up a few times, but they will develop into really good players. All of them, Fred, McTominay, and those 3 youth players as well. They'll all develop into fantastic players if they're given the chance, given runs in the team, and given the opportunity to develop. Now, on to actually, anything else you want to say on midfielders before we go back onto centre-backs?
I mean, I'll just a quickly finish on Levitt. I think the reason why I'm going to choose Levitt, I think he's a bit more of a heartbeat player, as I like to say, instead of the registas and all that like they like to say.
Don't get me started with the Italian names.
He is a heartbeat player. He controls the game. It's used far too often, but he's Scholes-esque. And like I was saying about James Garner before, and what surprised me is he's been playing in I think he's been playing in a midfield 5, obviously with 2 wide players at Watford, but he's been allowed to sit at the base of like some sort of diamond and spray balls, which isn't, again, something he didn't do. It was more so Levitt that would do that. So it is a lot harder now. If you asked me again 12 months ago, I'd have said Levitt all day, every day. But James Garner is surprising me, and he's probably the most exciting to see what he turns into now.
Yeah.
Going forward to other players that I would like to probably look at midfield wise, I think, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Cam. You know the one I was talking to you about before. Is it Koopmeiners?
Koopmeiners, yeah, and from the Eredivisie. Is it PSV or is it Feyenoord?
I think it might be fine.
Yeah, I think it's Feyenoord, but yeah.
I think it's Feyenoord, yeah.
He's getting a lot of hype at the moment. I mean, I personally don't really know masses about him, but yeah, he's getting a lot of hype at the moment, so obviously one to consider. Now, Mohammed says, Mendy gives me Yap Stan vibes. And look, we'll come on to centre-backs now, because it's the last position of the 3.
Are you in the comments here? Because this guy is helping our show brilliantly.
Yeah.
He's like, everything we want to bring up, he's like, oh, yeah. Next.
It's almost like he's got the plan already. Yeah. No, cheers. So cheers for the comments. If anyone else has got anything to say, drop it down in the comments, and it's great to have you guys interacting. So obviously, yeah, Mendy, terrific player. In terms of centre-backs at the club at the moment, I think obviously Maguire and Lindelof, they both got to stay at United for me. I think I'm personally not the biggest fan of Harry Maguire, but we need to keep him. We need to keep Victor Lindelof. I think Axel Tuanzebe, fantastic player, brilliant. Give him a few more chances. Eric Bailly, though, I would probably get rid of. As much as I love Eric Bailly, he's just injured all the time. We've taken too many chances on the lad. And I think it's time to go for Bailly. Obviously, Jones needs to go. I think for the same reason as Bailly, unfortunately, despite being one of my favourite players in the squad, Marcus Rojo going to have to go as well. I'll miss that. I don't know how he's never got a red card for United. I will never, ever know. But I love that. Top player. So I'll be so sad to see him leave. One of my mates was actually at one of the away games. I think it might have been like Fulham away a few years back or something. Mm-hmm. And Rojo was in the away end, so I got a picture with him. So jealous. But yeah, great lad is Rojo. So I'll be sad to see him leave, but I think he's got to go. In terms of players coming up, though, Axel Tuanzebe, fantastic. Obviously, Mendy as well. I really want to see him given chances in the youth team. So, sorry, not in the youth team, in the first team. He deserves it now. He's so quick. He'd be brilliant next to Harry Maguire or Lindelof. And for me, I think just give them chances. Before we even talk about getting other players in, give those guys chances, and you never know, they can step up. Remember what Rafa Varane did at the age of, 17, 18 under Jose Mourinho? He stepped up and become one of the world's best centre-backs. So hopefully these lads can do the same under Ole.
The problem with Mendy is, again, I know I've said it before, but like I said, I have watched a lot of... Oh, wait, AZ Alkmaar, is it? Koopmeiners?
Yeah, I think so. Cheers.
We were just helping, so we got more comments in. That's what we were doing, wasn't it, Cam?
Yeah,
so we just wanted more interaction. The thing is with Mendy is, like I said, he lacks a little bit of discipline for me. Just a slight bit, just a smidgen of discipline. And in a VAR world, I think he's going to cause himself a lot of problems. And I think that's why he hasn't been played, if I'm being honest. I think if you look at the fact that he was brought into the first team training for this season, I think they expected him to be pretty much a part of the full-time squad all the time. Definitely. Maybe not starting, but certainly on the bench. But I think they've realised themselves that he is a little bit rash. He's... the best way I can describe it is, for anyone that's not really understanding, is, when Martial got sent off against Spurs.
Yeah.
And obviously it was a nothing red card, but if that happened to Ted and Mendy, Mendy wouldn't have slapped him, Mendy would have punched him. That. He sees red so easy. In
a sense, I don't mind that, but we've heard what Ollie's got to say about I think it was on the High Performance podcast, but in terms of what he's got to say on defenders, he really doesn't like emotional defenders because he says they'll cost you in a cup final if your defence are too emotional. And so obviously in training, he does things like reffing games deliberately badly to see how they react, trying to rile them up and make sure they don't get too emotional. So if Mendy is falling foul of that, then maybe that is the reason he's not getting played at the moment.
Well, see, I didn't know that, and that makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Turns out Ollie does have a plan after all. But yeah,
it's almost like he's a coach.
Yeah. I mean, AM says, sure or tell us. Now, for me, I mean, you know my views on this, Dak. I think the only reason Luke Shaw is still getting played, aside from Tellers having COVID, of course, but I think the only reason he's still getting played is because he's willing to be much more defensive and cover Harry Maguire. If you've got a fullback like Tellers with Maguire on that side who goes forward, all it takes is one counter-attack. The winger suddenly has just Maguire, 1v1 in half the pitch, and we saw what happened. Think back to Bergwijn's goal against us for Spurs at the end of last season, just after lockdown. Maguire in a 1v1 in that much space, it's a recipe for disaster most of the time. So I think for me, that's why Shaw's still playing, because he was a little bit more defensive and can provide that cover for Harry Maguire so he doesn't get exposed by his lack of pace. Going forward in future, though, I would like to see Tellers play because he can progress that ball better. The question I asked people, when was the last time you've seen Luke Shaw sprint forwards with the ball? And it was last game, but before that, it was a long, long time before that. So, it doesn't happen very often. So that's what I want to see from Tellers. Get the ball forwards, drive forwards with it. When Brandon Williams came into the team, the reason he made such an impact, the reason he was so good for United was because he got on the ball and he sprinted forwards. He overlapped. He went forward. It's something we hadn't seen from a fullback for so long. And that's why he was so impactful. That's why he kept his place. And that's what he brought that Luke Shaw didn't. So for me, that's what I want to see from Tellers. He's left-footed as well, Tellers. Can put in a much better ball than Williams, hopefully. And so he could be a fantastic player for us.
Do you want my little opinion on that? Yeah. I think Cam knows, because we've had this conversation a lot, that I've got a little bit of a Luke Shaw agenda. I absolutely love Luke Shaw. If I think what he's technically been through, he's been through bullying of a manager. I think anyway, that's not on record. I think he was a little bit bullied by Mourinho. He was told that he might not keep his leg with a double blood clot that was in that leg after they had the break. I think he's come through that. I think he is one of the... I know that Cam doesn't agree with this, but I think he has one of the profiles of being a captain in our side. After that Spurs defeat... Look, Cam's fuming at me for this.
No, I'm not having that.
After that Spurs defeat, who came out? Who came out when he was one of the better players on the pitch and apologised? And apologised for our captain. And apologised for our captain.
Are we kicking Dak out the stream for that? Then what are we doing? What are we saying in the comments?
He stood up and said this isn't good enough for Manchester United. He stood up and said he wanted more players at this club, even players in his position. If that's not if that's not the type of player I want at the club, I don't know what is.
I will give him credit for that one where he came out and said he wants more players, knowing full well the players we're linked with were left backs. So fair enough for that one. But in terms of like after a defeat, I mean, I know he comes out and speaks, but he always sounds really half-arsed. And most of the time, he talks about players' performances not being good enough, and his was one of the main players who wasn't good enough in the game. So. I don't know. I'm not having Luke Shaw for captain. You can with that one. No,
I'm not saying Luke Shaw for captain, but I would want my captain coming out after a 6-1 defeat, not hiding in the dressing room like Harry Maguire was. I don't care about this and I've also got a little bit of the Harry Maguire agenda. I don't care about this Mykonos rubbish or whatever happened. You're a footballer. Okay, it's going to weigh a little bit of weight on you, but to go and make your left back come out and speak for you and say, oh, well, the players didn't really play to the best of their ability. It's a load of, why not you coming out and do that? But credit where credit due to Harry Maguire, after that Everton game, it was the first time he came out and spoke, and I thought, actually, he was a bit of a captain. So I'm fair. I'm firm but fair, Cam. I'm firm but fair.
Fair enough. In terms of this question from Mohammed, does Ollie need better coaches around him? Honestly, yes. I think the one biggest mistake Ollie's made so far, and I'll let you do yours in a second, Dak. I think his biggest mistake so far is he's hired the wrong staff. He's hired the staff that's taken him, that have been with him this far. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being loyal, but I personally, I just don't see it. I think the staff he's got around him right now, Kieran McKenna aside, and even with McKenna, he's inexperienced. I think he's firstly not got enough experience with his closest coaches. Secondly, he's not got the sort of coaches that can drive you up in terms of playing style. I'm not seeing enough there from the coaching team as a whole. Now, whilst Ollie's inexperienced at the top level, if he'd gone and hired, say, I don't know, René Moulenstein or someone like that, or Carlos Queiroz, I don't know what he's up to nowadays, but one of those sorts of guys, someone who's been experienced at the top level, knows what it takes, then maybe I'd be a bit more confident with him. But for me, I think he definitely does need better coaches. Now, this one for you, Dak. Mourinho said Luke Shaw needs to be told what to do on the pitch, though. I mean, yeah, he did.
I've seen the interview where the interviewer says, "Oh, he had a great game," and he said, "Yes, but it was my brain and his feet," or whatever. He said something like that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Username will be able to tell us. I think that's. He's been constant. He's been consistently one of our best players this season. He has, especially defensively. In that back three at PSG, I thought he was sublime.
Tell you what, he's good in the back three. To be fair to Luke Shaw, he's class in the back three.
I think he is. He is probably better as an overall defender, in my opinion. And this is going to cause some controversy, especially with you, because I know you like Victor Lindelof. I think the best defenders in our club are ranked like this: Axel Tuanzebe, then Luke Shaw for pure defending. And I think they're the two. And then it's Lindelof, then it's Maguire.
Now, for me, Victor Lindelof, it depends what defending you want. In terms of on-ground defending.
Yeah, on the ground, he's unbelievable.
On the ground, Lindelof is one of the best around. In the air, obviously, leaves a lot to be decided, but he's getting a lot better with that. But on the ground, for me, he's one of the best available. Now, fair comment. Are you Goldbridge inside?
Yeah, I'm Goldbridge in a fat suit, yeah.
I'll rip off the hair.
My hair's shocking tonight, boys. I do apologise. I just got out of the shower.
Just rip off the hair in the face and underneath the Goldbridge.
Yeah, I just really like Luke Shaw. I mean, I don't know if it's just because I've got this weird fantasy with LVG when I just
hang on. Where's that? LVG about,
whoa! Do not clip that up. No, I mean with the time that LVG was with the club, and I just remember, was it like against? I think it was like Aston Villa. And Luke Shaw was just making run after run after run after run down that left-hand side, overlapping, cutting inside. He was just unreal. And he's come back and he's been one of our best defensive players. Even though he's a left-back, he has been one of our best defensive players.
He doesn't go forward. He doesn't run with the ball. He doesn't have it for me.
It's a myth, though, that he hasn't got a good ball on him. It's a myth that he can't cross a ball.
Well, if he hasn't, the reason that myth exists is because he doesn't put balls into the box, and the reason he doesn't put balls into the box is because one, often there's no one in the box, and two, he doesn't run forwards with the ball. He doesn't overlap enough. He doesn't get forward. Whether that's because he's covering Maguire or whether it's because he can't be bothered, don't know. And to be honest, don't really care. He's not doing it for me right now. So
just go back to that point that you just said. Then covering for Maguire, this is almost like he's like a Pogba of centre-backs.
Yeah,
he needs a centre back to make him look better. He clearly now needs a left back to make him look better. He needs two in front of him to make him look better. Who's the problem here? Is it the rest of the players or is it Harry Maguire? There you go. There you go. Chat, comments, reply to that one.
We'll have to clip that one up. But yeah, no. To be fair comment. But you know, Luke Shaw picked his moment to get injured. Now he can have a kebab every day. He can go download the new card. Perfect time to get injured. To be fair, so. Picked his moment well on that one. In terms of so with centre backs, in terms of bringing in players from abroad or other English clubs. Are there any players you think particularly stand out? For me, I think maybe the Sevilla backline, Diego Carlos, Koundé maybe, but I haven't really watched them enough to be honest. Upamecano is getting a lot of chat, but I think he looks very good because of the system. In the same way Smalling looked incredible under Van Gaal and Mourinho, for me, Upamecano looks good because of the system. And again, he's got a massive history of getting injured. So it's a tough one. I'm not sure I'd bring in Upamecano either. What about you?
Upamecano wouldn't be anywhere near my transfer list for the same reasons you just stated. He's almost like the centre-back version of Timo Werner in terms of the fact that it's the system and makes him look better than he is.
Right, yeah. Keep going. Elaborate.
Well, you just told me.
Oh, fair. Well, I mean, in terms of what I meant on, so with Chris Smalling, going back to Mourinho and especially Van Gaal. With Van Gaal, we had so much possession. The team was so high up the pitch, and same under Mourinho when the team were deep. The main chances we conceded were counter-attacks from long balls. And if you get long balls played against you, a 6'5", whatever he is, Chris Smalling, who's quick, strong, and really good in the air, is always going to look good in that sort of setup. He looked much better than he was. He can't build from the back, but in that sort of setup, when they're the main chances you concede, he's always going to look like a brilliant defender. And for me, may well be the same thing with their Upamecano.
I think you've got to be fair to the fact he's 21 though.
Yeah, that's true. He can.
I mean, you've got to be fair. I mean, just like midfielders, I think it takes a bit of more time for a young centre back to bed in properly.
100%.
Like the DMs that we were looking at before, like the younger versions. it just does take a bit longer to mature. And I think that's why although he's been plagued with injuries, I think Axel Tuanzebe is probably like age 20 for playing time, but probably like age 26 for injuries. And mentally, probably like 35 because he's just aware on the pitch.
Yeah. So in terms of work, so AM says it's a good place to finish the stream, I guess. Where do you think we'll finish this season? Now, you go first on this one.
Thanks for passing the webcam. It all depends on that big word, consistency. If we get that, I think we finish. Do you know what? I think this could be a league like the year Leicester won the league, where the consistent team wins the league. So that's. I don't know if any of you are allowed to bet, or I don't think we advocate betting on this channel. But put all your money on Ralph Hasenhüttl's Southampton to win the league.
So yeah,
he's my. If I had to pick a manager, by the way, boys and girls, to replace Ollie, if we had to, it would be Ralph Hasenhüttl from Southampton. Anyway, I think if we pick up any level of consistency, we'll finish where we finished last season. I think we're going to finish third again.
Yeah, I think that was going to be my pick as well. Third place. I'm not just copying you. I was thinking third place.
See, he's brought someone with real brains onto the channel now, so now he's like,
yeah, exactly. Copy it. But no, I think this season it'll be really important to see basically who can come away the lightest from injuries. And obviously last season we got done really bad with injuries. Rashford out for a couple of months, Pogba out for a couple of months, Martial out for a couple of months. Liverpool are having that this season. So I think, with basically the whole defence missing for what looks like a while now, they could even drop out of that top two. I can see it happening because without that lot playing, they look a lot worse defensively. They look a lot more vulnerable. So I can really see Liverpool dropping off. So I think there could be a chance for any team really this season that finishes, anyone in and around the top 10, personally, I think has a chance, a slim chance, but a chance of winning this league. I think even City, they'll get injuries. They'll have players on international duties. You got to remember, the bigger the club, the less pre-season they've had to prepare, the more players in general they have on international duty playing games constantly. So it could be anyone that wins this league. So there is always a chance for United. And if Ole brings that home, incredible.
I think City's backline and themselves are quite injury prone. I think I'm Eric Laporte. He's quite injury prone. I mean, he's a fantastic defender, but he's injury prone. I think Cancelo's a little bit injury prone. Benjamin Mendy's up in and out of the hospital like a yo-yo. Yeah. Ruben Diaz, just a little point on Ruben Diaz. I would have picked him over anyone out there in the transfer world to have at United. I would have had Ruben Diaz all day long. He's unbelievable, and I'm so sorry. And also, I really would have had Thiago as well. We've missed out on two unbelievable players there for cut prices. What's your username said?
His username said, what do you think about the Ronaldo rumours? People need to worry about getting UCL first. Now, I think we'll finish on this one. But for me, personally, look, if we can sign, just think about the glow-up we've had in a year. Going from signing Ighalo in January to potentially signing Cristiano Ronaldo in January. It's a no-brainer. I mean, Ronaldo will take us into the UCL. Ronaldo can carry us. Just get that man in the box, put crosses in, and he will score every game.
Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo link-up.
Come on.
Feel it with me.
I think, we need to worry about getting UCL, but for me, if the chance comes to get Ronaldo, obviously we take it.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that pretty much finishes off the stream for today. I've really enjoyed it. Hope you have too, Dak.
Yep,
and it's been great to see all the comments from you guys. So it's been great talking, interacting with you guys. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Do drop a like on the video. Make sure to share it so we can sort of grow the channel. Obviously, it's the first time we're sort of going for consistent streams. We'll have something again on the weekend where it's covering the England game, covering United. If there's anything you want to see, drop a comment. Send me a DM on Twitter at StatmanCam. Send it to Deck at Scran United. And we'll see. So cheers for watching and see you guys again very soon.
See ya.